For Nebraska to go into UCLA, coming off this injury, and find out that Lateef is capable of making accurate throws on the move, off platform, that he's capable of progressing through his reads and helping the offense and not hurting them, and to at one point lead UCLA 28-7 on the road, to win, to cover, to at least win more regular season games than they did last year. That is huge. I cannot understate how important this win is for Nebraska. This channel will make you a college football expert and help you enjoy watching games and make more accurate predictions. So what are you waiting for? Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment your thoughts, and watch the video all the way through so that you can get the full package. And check the description and pinned comment for more ways to help yourself and this channel. They're not going 6-6 again. Their win total regular season is yet again improving. They will go to a better bowl game than they did last year. They win yet again another close game. They've beaten Maryland, Northwestern, Cincinnati, and now UCLA in close games. They have 4 wins in close games. They are 4-2 in close games, completely defying previous Nebraska history and trends. And that is a massive credit to Matt Rhule and what he's done. He is their coach. He is their man of the future, and he has built this culture into something that is really admirable. For Nebraska to allow no sacks, to get 3 of their own, to match UCLA in rushing the football, to have better quarterback play, and to beat UCLA on the road. And when UCLA made it 28-21 and gained some momentum back, Nebraska made sure they never saw the football again with Emmett Johnson. Talk about a clutch team, a team that knows their identity, a team that has some players who either after this year will be up for All-American awards or next year or in the future could. You think of it this way. Emmett Johnson has 1,131 rushing yards for 203 carries. He's averaging 5.6 yards per carry with 11 rushing touchdowns. He could, depending on the Penn State and Iowa game, finish with 1,300, 1,400 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns. And he has 14 total touchdowns right now with only 1 fumble lost against Akron. Only 1. 1 turnover, 300 receiving yards, had 2 receiving touchdowns, 103 receiving yards on a screen pass, a delayed screen, and a beautiful wheel route, wonderful call by Dana Holgerson, to amass 232 total yards and 3 touchdowns, averaging about, averaging well over 6 yards per play. It's crazy stuff there. I can't overstate how big of a win this is for the Cornhuskers. To be able to hold your own in the trenches, to be able to respond to that gut-wrenching loss, to have a quarterback who I think after Rhule leaves is going to be good. I mean, talk about a true freshman who wasn't all that highly recruited, who wasn't planned to be someone who was needed for this season to be successful, and he comes in his first career start, he's 1-0. And while Nebraska, if you want to really look ahead, and we'll talk about this a bit in a few seconds, will probably be an underdog in their final 2 games, with Emmett Johnson, TJ Lateef, with the defensive effort Nebraska put on against UCLA, with what they were able to do on the ground, you know what? Why not? Why can't they win out? Why can't they go 8-4 at least? I think I overreacted maybe to the injury news a bit, but at the same time, Rhule was the best offensive player on this team. I think that's now moved to Emmett Johnson, and by the end of the year, it was probably going to move to Emmett Johnson due to Rhule still having some issues to work through mechanically and developmentally. Johnson's as complete of a running back as you can ask for, but the drop-off, while noticeable because Lateef threw it 15 times, I don't think he can throw it 30 to 40 times in a game and be successful in the way that Rhule can. Uh, it's not that big of a drop off if Emmett Johnson and the offensive line continues to play this way. Now, if Rhule could play behind this offensive line, that would be something else too. But very clearly, they were having him do sprint outs to pass, moving the pocket a bit, using his rushing ability. He provides a different skill set than Rhule, where he doesn't quite have, at least to my knowledge yet, would love to see him play more, the same upside that Rhule does with his arm, but he is so much more mobile, and every pass he threw, or at least most of them, I thought they were pretty accurate. He put the ball where it needed to be within reasonable reach of the receiver's palms, and he had a 98.7 QBR. That kid is a dog, and he's a kid. He's not just a young man. He's a true freshman. He is literally someone who is a year removed from high school. He's not, a full-grown, fully developed adult, and he was able to come out in his first start and win. It's huge. And having a 1,000-yard rusher and Key being healthy and Hunter and Ja'Cory Barney and the offensive line only allowing, I believe, 2 or 3 sacks in the last 3 games, Nebraska's making moves and taking steps forward, and I think this will be this is a team that I thought even for much of this year would be better next year, even after the Rhule injury, thought it would be better next year. But this is a team that can still make a mark with this schedule, because this schedule is probably easier than next year's schedule. So to finish strong with this schedule and to possibly win out, or at least win one more game, potentially win 9 games, including the bowl game, that will give some cushion for next year, and more importantly, give a lot of momentum entering next year and a lot of belief that, with a tougher schedule, we can compete for maybe the Big Ten championship game, or the Big Ten championship, and also the college football playoff. For UCLA, the dream season is over. I think Tim Skipper should still get the job, and between Washington and USC, there is a chance for UCLA to win one more Big Ten game. But you're not beating Ohio State. You were never beating Indiana. And this was one of those games where it was winnable. It was in front of you. You could have won it, and you didn't. But that's the same with the Northwestern game, and same with the UNLV game. You just couldn't get it done. And imagine looking back at the end of the year and, going back to the preseason and saying to someone, looking back at the end of the year, UCLA is going to miss plenty of opportunities to go like 7-5 or 8-4 with this schedule. It's crazy. And a lot of that's a credit to the job that Tim Skipper has done. I think he should be named the next head coach, but that's about all I'm going to say about UCLA. They're not going bowling with these final 3 games, barring some act of God. For the Cornhuskers, they're not going to go to the playoffs, but losing to USC and Michigan, who are 7-2, and then a Minnesota team who is at least going bowling, is not the worst collection of losses in the world. You beat Maryland, you beat Michigan State, you beat Northwestern, you beat UCLA, Akron, Houston, Christian. None of those teams are great, but at least you beat all the bad teams, or all the mediocre teams, or all the teams who are still fighting for bowl eligibility, whereas you used to lose to some of those teams. And on top of that, you have a nice win over a Cincinnati team who is going bowling, and it was a very good chance to win out with their remaining schedule and win 10 games. That's a really neat win. You have a shot still to beat Iowa. That's the most important game of the year, as Adam Carrickerson in the channel. I imagine Connor and Corn Crazed would agree. And you have a shot to beat a Penn State team who, yes, is 3-6, but Penn State on the road is probably going to be a taller task in a lot of ways than any game you've played since either the Michigan game or maybe the USC game. That's going to be tough, especially if they play inspired like they did yesterday later in that game. And that'll be the case if they beat Michigan State as the models and as the spread from the sports books thinks they do, where they're 7.5-point favorite over the Spartans this weekend. A lot of opportunity ahead of Nebraska There's plenty of things in front of them. Looking at the Big Ten standings here, if Nebraska wins out, they're 6-3. I have a hard time imagining that everyone ahead of them, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, Oregon, USC, Ohio State, Indiana, in theory, all of them could win out with the exception of USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan. Two of them will win out. The other will just take one loss. But outside of when those teams play each other, even if they all win out, it's the same thing with Minnesota, Oregon, for example, and Iowa, USC. Even if that happens, if Nebraska wins out, they'll finish top 8 in the 18-team Big Ten and maybe even higher than that. And that would be successful. This league is not, I don't think it's the SEC quite yet, but it's much deeper than the Big Ten was in the 2010s. This is the healthiest and the best the Big Ten has been in quite some time. Not just at the top, but their depth teams, Washington, Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa, would still include USC and Michigan in that conversation unless they somehow win out. They're pretty good too. So to be flirting with a top third finish in the Big Ten would be impressive for Matt Rhule and the Cornhuskers. Big win again for Nebraska. Cannot overstate that. They needed this one and they got it, and that's what the good teams and good coaches do. Thank you for watching. It's my mission on College Football with Sam to make you the most informed, knowledgeable, and entertained fan as possible. We aren't perfect, but we hit the nail on the head more often than we hit our thumb with the hammer. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment, and if you're here, you've probably already watched the whole video. So thank you for doing those things.